And so, okay, so thanks everybody. Alrighty, so for this training, we are going to go over the buttons training widget. It should be a relatively quick training session, as I know most of you have already been playing with all the buttons and using them. So, Chad, go ahead and show us the buttons.
Okay, so I'm sure you're all aware of what buttons are and how they work basically. And the buttons widget allows you to make just a separate bundle of buttons you can place anywhere you want. I built a simple little demonstration set with all the buttons on the top, and we'll go over each one, and then there's just some text so you can see how a page looks. But when you create the buttons widget, it's going to give you this empty list of buttons, and you would simply click add a new button, and that would let you determine what that button does. You can choose the link type, and it's all pretty self-explanatory once you get into it. The internal page will let you go to another page within the site. So you would choose, if I created another page, that would appear right down here. And you would simply choose another page, and it would scroll, or it would go to that other page within that site.
Okay, so Chad. So yeah, so that's perfect for if you, sometimes you maybe want to hide a page in the header. This is a great way to actually have, a button where it takes somebody to an internal page that they may not be seeing. So I'll use that a lot of times when I have a lot of headings. Maybe I want at the very top, but I don't, but it's just taking up too much space. So I'll kind of hide those and use an internal page to go right to them. Thanks, Jeff. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Yeah, so you can use that. And then there's the external links as well, which will link to any external website like Google, Facebook, standard links basically. And the user would click that and it would take them to that site in a pop-up. And that's pretty self-explanatory. You just type in the URL right there and it would create the button.
Yeah, I think all the buttons, they're all self-explanatory with the links.
Yeah.
They really are, but again, we want to show all of them, but there's some of them you can just use in different places, and also know that you can put a button pretty much at any page.
Right. See, I created that Google, and if I click that, it would have opened up in Google, but this is the preview there. But yeah, that would have opened up in Google on the new page. And then there's also the scroll to a widget. So if you wanted to add another one, you can scroll to a certain page or a certain widget within that page, like Scotty was talking about earlier. So if you select that, this would let you choose the widget. So I have, there's the buttons right there on the top, and then I have my two separate, titles, which are these widgets right here. So basically, once you select scroll to the page, you would select which widget. So if I wanted this to scroll all the way to the bottom, I would select the bottom widget, and then you would say scroll to bottom. So this is great for like what Scotty was talking about earlier. If you have a landing page or some sort of sales page and someone wants to just buy that, you can put a scroll to the bottom. They would click it. It would scroll them all the way down to the buy now link.
Right. To kind of add to that. So that is perfect for if you want to make a one-page website. Okay? You use that, and it'll always scroll to that specific widget that you want to take that person to. So it's very, very, very convenient for getting your message across, especially the one that you really want that your client or your customer to see. You put that in there, scroll to that widget, it's perfect. So now you prevent somebody from having to scroll over your website, or you also now give them an easy navigation tool to get to exactly where they want to go.
Right. Yeah, you can put that in multiple locations to your website, so whenever someone's ready to buy, they can just click it and it'll scroll all the way down to the bottom. Or one of my favorites is if you put one at the bottom that scrolls to the top, they can click that and read the whole page over again and see anything they missed.
Exactly. I like using those for when I have definitely for some of the buy buttons and for some very specific items or features that I want to showcase on a site. I'll make sure I have a button that scrolls right to that one, because that's the one that I want that person. As we all know, people will see a button. What does everybody want to do with a button? They want to click on it. So make that a button that is taking that person to something that you desperately want them to see.
Right. And then another thing I can mention as well, you can add an image to the button or even a little icon, which is neat. We have a huge library of hundreds of icons you can use. So this is great for just little generic references, and you can use the search here as well. And this is actually really helpful because it just organizes most of these into what they would be by search. So if that scroll to the bottom button, if I wanted an arrow, for example, you would just simply type arrow, and then there's a whole bunch of arrows here. So I just click like a down arrow, save it, and you'll see that now has a neat little scroll to the bottom and a little down arrow, which is a neat little, great little aesthetic to it. You know what I mean? And for all these, let's see, I did that for the click to call as well. And then for all these other ones, I'm just going to go back to the widget page and go through each one kind of independently and kind of show you how it works, because this is pretty much all the rest of them. The email, this would let you send an email. So this is great to, if you want people to email you, you would type your email in the destination link, and people, anybody that clicked that would be able, it would open up in their email messaging app, and they'd be able to send an email straight to that. So that's pretty easy. You can do an icon or a little, or envelope. You got a little email envelope, and then click to call is for phone numbers. So you would put a phone number in here, then anybody who would click that, you'd be able to start a phone call. And this one, it's often useful for like this one, maybe put this separately in like a separate buttons widget where you can have maybe like an email and a click to call, and then you have a separate buttons widget that's just email, and you set that to desktop only. You know what I mean? Because people never really call from a desktop. So, yeah.
Doing what, the mobile first technology.
Yeah, and a lot these buttons all work with our mobile first. You would just go to the additional options and then switch all the buttons you want on and off. You know what I mean? So it's pretty simple. For SMS message, that's the text message. So you would just type the phone number as well. Then they would be able to send a text message, which is pretty neat. Because a lot of people, they prefer text. They don't always want phone calls right away from strangers. So a lot of people prefer text, so that's a neat little feature.
Can you have just the image tag to the link? Yes, you can.
What was that?
Can you have just the image tag to the link? Yes, you can. You can just put the image in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and again, guys, just remember, always just play with it too as well, because that's the biggest thing. And I'll tell you, that's one of the ways that I found about it, and learning all these little tricks is not necessarily from Silvio teaching me, is from playing around with it, knowing that I can't break the system, but also you're trying to break the system.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty neat what this can do. And then Facebook Messenger, this is going to open up a chat within Facebook Messenger. For this one, you would type the Facebook name, which would be like your profile name. In order to find that, you would basically go to your page and you click on your name, and then it's going to be right after that, facebook.com. You want to make sure there's no other like extra stuff, because sometimes there's extra tags and things attached. You want just the name. Yeah, so once you type just that name, then that'll open up in Facebook Messenger. And for Skype, this will let you open up a Skype chat. Now for this one, this is important to get their account name. It's not just their regular name. You have to actually like right-click and view their profile. And it's not the name on top. It's actually, if you scroll down, the Skype name that you want. It has live on the front of it. And once you copy that over, you can double-click it, I think, and it'll let you copy that. And then once you copy that over, that'll open up in Skype. So you want to make sure that live is on front.
Good point.
And then WhatsApp chat, that's for WhatsApp, basically. So once you download WhatsApp, it should automatically link to your phone, and then you'd be able to type the phone number. One thing to keep in mind, I'm going to talk to Sylvia about this, but if you look at the numbers here, there's spaces in like the gray. Don't actually put spaces in your actual phone number. Just put it all one phone number. Without spaces, and then that'll connect to WhatsApp. And then once they click that on their cell phone, it'll open up in WhatsApp and be able to chat right with them. That's pretty simple. And then for Google, this was the external link. Yeah, so that's the external link, and that's pretty much it. Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Skype. You can do text messages, phone calls, emails, and all the scrolling and links. So there's a lot of functionalities with buttons.
Do you need the one for the country code? It's always good to put that in there. Yes.
Yeah, I usually recommend it. That's what WhatsApp kind of gives you anyway. It gives you that in that format, the +1 623. So I just type it in as is, just to be safe.
Now, when I'm putting on, that's for WhatsApp, but when I'm putting on just like a regular phone number for in the States or anything like that.
Yeah, the regular phone number, I didn't need the country code, but I'm assuming if you're going out of country or this was from a different country, it's always recommended to put that. That way, people from different countries will be able to call you. So that's actually a good point too.
And that's all the buttons. I mean, everybody's been playing with them. Is there any questions when it comes to the buttons? I told you this would be a short one, which is what we're down to now. So, is there any questions along the buttons? And remember too, different places you can put the buttons. You got in the options section too as well. I mean, all the buttons are going to be the same,
But if you go into options, you can add buttons in there. You can add
Oh yeah.
stuff into the header. So that's where, but again, all the buttons are going to function the same way.
Yeah, you can add buttons to many of the different. You'll notice that you can add buttons to many of the different widgets. There's buttons and content blocks and the header widget and lots of them, and they all function the same.
And then I know that there was some little bit of an issue on possibly WhatsApp on the desktop. So we're going to have Sylvia look at everything. Granted, we know that this WhatsApp is, quite frankly, I didn't even know you could access it through a desktop because I've only ever used it on a phone since it is an app. But we'll take a look at it too as well. We have another question in here. Sorry, what does Sid Frazier, Sid, how does what look on desktop? I'm not sure the question exactly, Sid.
Oh, you want me to view the site on desktop? We can. Basically, it makes the buttons bigger, but this is something you'd be able to control with, coding and stuff.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, and he's just doing it for demonstration purposes.
Yeah.
Just to show you how
Yeah, see, when you scroll to the bottom, that works a lot less to scroll to, but it does scroll.
Frankly, that's one of my favorite features to use is that scroll to a widget. It's just a real handy widget to use, so that's one of my favorite ones. Obviously, click to call and email, those are the standard ones. But
right, and then when you click email, see it'll pop up in this, asking me to set up my email. And then, yeah, that'll work on cell phone just as well. And all these will work. It's pretty simple stuff.
Yeah. See if there's anything else. Doesn't look like there's anything else at this point.
And you can see Skype works as well. When I click Skype, it asks to launch in Skype. I can open that, and then it wants me to do all that. But yeah.
Yesterday, and I was WhatsApp and calling too as well. So.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to keep this one nice and short. We'll be doing it again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll tackle probably 2 to 3 widgets tomorrow. It's not 4 if we have the time. And we're getting down to just the last little bits of training. So then what we'll end up doing is we'll continue the training going forward, but we'll really want to now focus on any particular items that you guys want us to focus on. Doesn't matter if we have to go back to a previous item, just any item that you want to focus on. Also, too, if there is anything that is questions, which I've been seeing, a lot of the questions are being answered by all the beta testers. Thank you so much. Also, too, that there is, I know everything that we talk about, there is training on it, too. So always look for the training and look for some videos first. So if there's any questions after there's a video, that way we can make sure that our videos are actually doing the job that they're intended to do, the training videos. So, all right, everybody. We will see everybody tomorrow morning, and we'll go at it again. Right? All right. Thanks, everybody. Chad, great job. Thank you so much.
Yep. All right. Talk to you all later.